So this is a problem as I read it. They're asking for a two-way table, and there are a couple of different categories. They're trying to decide whether there's people are on the spectrum with autism or not, and then whether or not they receive vaccinations. So I'm going to make the rows on the spectrum or not on the spectrum. I'm going to make the columns vaccine or no vaccine. Then they're telling me, let's see, there's 425 total children. 191 of them were diagnosed as being on the spectrum. So that means the balance, if I take 191 from the 425, that tells me there's 234 children that were not diagnosed as being on the spectrum. They're telling me of the people, let's see, of the 191, 155 has received a vaccine. So 155 were on the spectrum and had been vaccinated. So the balance of that, 191 minus 155, is 36, if I did my math right, did not receive the vaccine. And then it said on the rest of the sample, 190 of them had received vaccination. So 190 of them had received the vaccination, and 234 minus 190, I believe, is 44, did not. So there's my two-way table. I could get some totals if I wanted to. Let's see, what is that, 80? And this total is 345. And I know altogether the table total is 425. And now, depending on what you need to do with this in order to determine, let's see, determine if there's a relationship between the two variables. Well, you didn't really state whether you're doing like a chi-square test of significance or you're just looking at marginal distribution. So I'll do the chi-square test of significance, and I'm going to let an applet do it for us. So to conduct a chi-square test for association, our null hypothesis is there's no association between receiving a vaccination and being on the spectrum. And the alternative hypothesis is there is an association. Let's see, there is. I'm supposed to be writing there is. I don't know what I'm writing. So using this online applet, I'll place the link in the text part of this response. I put in my two-way table. I ran the test. It said the chi-square value, which is my test statistic, I don't know if you've studied this or not, is very small, and my p-value is huge. So that means, remember the large p-value, there's no statistical significance, which tells me there's no relationship, no association between getting a vaccination or not, or whether or not you're diagnosed with on the spectrum. So that answers the question that you're looking for. I hope the chi-square test is where you were going to go with this. Hope it helps.